In Europe, markets were a little chained after the opening bell today as cautious investors awaited a fresh round of U.S. corporate earnings. Well, there are also a couple of corporate earnings coming out from the European space. Let's bring in my colleague there now, Lars Halter, to give us details. Hello, Lars. Well, 3 years after the emissions cheating scandal, Dieselgate broke, former Volkswagen CEO Martin Winterkorn has been indicted and will face trial. What's the fallout for Volkswagen in Frankfurt?
Well, it's quite interesting if we look at Volkswagen shares today, because there is really not an impact at all. If at all, there's a positive impact. And that, of course, has a reason. One reason is that Martin Winterkorn, the former CEO, is, of course, entirely divorced now from Volkswagen. He has nothing to do with the company itself anymore. So whatever happens to him, whether he would end up in jail possibly or not, is a lot more his personal problem than it is shareholders' problems. As a matter of fact, it could very well be that with an indictment against Martin Winterkorn and a trial coming up, there could be some money flowing back into Volkswagen's coffers, because over the years, of course, and partly because of the success of the cars Volkswagen had due to Dieselgate and the emissions cheating, Martin Winterkorn and 4 other managers who are also indicted have made a tremendous amount of money. They have gotten big bonuses, and they might have to pay a lot of money back. That could be tens of millions of euros. So that is a little bit, of course, even a plus for Volkswagen, although it's a drop in the bucket, because all in all, this whole scandal has cost Volkswagen about 30 billion euros over the last 3 years.
Now, is this finally putting an end to the Dieselgate scandal, not only for Volkswagen, but also for other automakers involved in the diesel deception scandal?
It certainly looks like the end is coming at some point, and we're closing a chapter here possibly, but there is still really a lot that could possibly hit Volkswagen and specifically investors, because there's still a lot of lawsuits outstanding. There's at least 36 lawsuits right now that go straight at Volkswagen's management team, including current CEO Herbert Diess. And of course, there is still the big outstanding problem with compensation for customers in the United States. Volkswagen has generally reimbursed customers, but not so much in Germany and in other countries. And consumers there still fight for their money. And so it is unclear still how much Volkswagen still has to shell out.
And after the disastrous fire at Paris Notre Dame Cathedral, President Macron promises that the church will be rebuilt. But that's going to be expensive. What are you hearing? Who's going to pay for this?
Yes, obviously you're right. This is going to be tremendously expensive to rebuild a church like that, a cathedral. There's obviously at this point no official estimate, as the damage still has to be surveyed by the experts. But it is, of course, anyone's guess. We're talking about several hundreds of millions of dollars. And there is, however, a lot of support right now, a lot of financial support coming at first from 2 of France's famous luxury families, Arnault and Pinault. The François Pinault, who owns the company that owns Gucci and Yves Saint Laurent, he has promised to pay 100 million euros right away. And Bernard Arnault, who owns Louis Vuitton, he also pledged 200 million. And then we have French oil conglomerate Total also promising 100 million. So money is flowing in also from international resources. So a first step seems to be made already, but of course we're still waiting for numbers, and there's a lot of work coming up.
Well, let's keep an eye on those earnings coming from the U.S. space, and we'll talk tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of the day.